right. Hey, friends. We got Shrey with us today. Take three because
Yeah.
people keep interrupting us very rudely. Shrey is one of our more famous friends because Shrey
Oh,
has his own TED Talk. So we'll get into that in a little bit. But Shrey, like, share your journey into tech jobs with your friends.
mhm. Yeah, I'll start with where I am now, and then we can go in the past. So today I was hired. I was laid off recently due to COVID. Um, but today I got my laptop and account set up and all that. But basically, I'm working for Estee Lauder, and I am in their supply chain and analytics team. So my title is data analyst, and I do data analytics for Estee Lauder supply chain.
Hmm. And so,
That's
what
what I do
was
right
your major in school? Did you
now.
study data in school or?
Yeah, so in school, I my major was information sciences and technology, um, which in simple words, I like to call it. It's a mixture of business and IT skills. I think every college has it, and they have their own name. At Penn State, that's what we called it, IST.
Mm. So talk about like being a data analyst because data is like a big buzzword right now, and there's
Hmm.
lots of jobs. Like every area of business probably needs a data analyst. So can you explain
Hmm.
like what that is exactly?
Yeah, actually, I'll start with how I got into data analyst, and
Mm-hmm.
then I'll also share how to get a job in it because I was job searching for a while for data analytics. Um, so how I got in was my first job out of college. Um, I was hired in a pretty small IT consulting company uh, in Harrisburg, PA, and for them, my title was like business and analyst. So it was just like doing like making like documents, doing Excel work, and I was like that was my first job, so I was doing like all the like data entry jobs or uh, like I didn't have like a specific duties as per se for what I was doing, and then in the I was actually looking for like I was always just like looking for other opportunities, and at that time like data science was very popular and paid the most. I think it still pays a lot. So I was like, I want to get into data science because of the money, because it pays good.
Mm-hmm.
And I started taking classes in data science, um, and pretty quickly it hit me that this is more technical than I could do. And then the next thing was data and analyst, which is not as technical, but a little more technical. Um, and luckily at that time, my my boss at my company, he was trying to start a data and analytics project. So then I was like, hey, I'm learning this online. Can you put me into this project for doing data analytics? And then he was pretty open. He said like, yeah, like you can go into this project, and that's how I kind of started like my first work as a data analyst. So then I was dealing with the data that they have and all that, and I was learning. They had someone who had worked as a business analyst and a data analyst, so I was working under him, and I was like learning from him about these skills.
So wait, so
Um,
you had an interest in it, started learning it, and then you reached out to your manager,
mm-hmm.
right?
Because
Like,
I heard with like in the company talks or whatever, like it
mm-hmm.
was a pretty small company, so I would just hear things.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I heard that they were trying to start a data. an analytics project. So I thought like, I mean, at that time, I was trying to job search, and I thought like, if I had this project in my resume, like it would be easier for me to find a job. Or not easier, but at least like people could see that I have some skills as a data analyst.
Hmm. And what were you learning? Was there like a specific course that you took, or um, like a certain topic you were studying?
Yeah, so I took this course on data camp. It
Mm-hmm.
was called it was actually a career track. So the
Mm.
website, the data camp, they offered a career track called data analyst with Python. And it
Mm-hmm.
was like 13 courses, and each course was like 3-4 hours.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so it would go through. It would start from the basics like SQL, basics of Python, and it would kind of build up. So that's how when I was taking this course, that's how I told my manager, like, I'm learning this on the side, and it would just be great if I can just have a real life project that I can use these skills on.
So, how long, like, what was the timeline for when you started the course and then got staffed to your project?
Um, so actually, as I mentioned, since it was a pretty small company,
Mm-hmm.
um, my boss I think it was like within a week or two, I heard that there's something going on within data analytics. Um, and at that time, like, I mean, in that company, I was the youngest person. So they all just kind of knew, like, they can put me in any project that they want. Um, so that's how I just told them that, hey, like, I want to do this. And then they just put me into this project.
And was your course free? Was that data camp course free?
No, I think it was like, I think $30 a month or something.
Mm, okay.
Um, but what so actually I usually go for free courses.
Mm-hmm.
Um, the reason I convinced myself to pay for it was because it would help me find a better job.
It was an investment.
Yeah,
And
and sorry, go ahead.
was your company up for paying for it? Like, if you had approached them, would you have been able to
Hmm.
expense it?
I didn't ask them,
Mm-hmm.
um, but at that time, I would say maybe. I wouldn't say
Mm-hmm.
yes though. Maybe they could do it.
Yeah. I mean, the reason I bring that up is, money is tight these days. So if
I agree with
somebody's
that. Yeah.
kind of looking to transition into something like data analytics and there's a course and they're already working, like it's worth it to ask your employer if
Mm.
they'll pay for it, you know?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah, you bring up a good point. I'm curious to know, like, you've taken multiple cloud courses.
Mm-hmm.
Um, like, does your company pay for it, or like?
Yes, I'm very blessed. Like they have a lot of flaws, but they offer us a lot of resources. Like
Mm.
we just take that card and swipe it, and nobody really asks any questions.
Oh wow,
So yeah, that's a blessing.
that's good. Yeah, I think maybe it just depends company to company.
Mm-hmm.
Seems like your company supports that kind of culture.
Yeah, I mean it's always worth asking though,
Mm. Good
because
point. Good
sometimes
point.
there's a budget for it, but nobody asks. So
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. I think also for me, it wasn't like very expensive.
Mm-hmm.
Because I also thought like I'll just take this course for 3 months
Mm-hmm.
and then I'll cancel the uh, the website.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah.
So what's your process for learning new skills? So like you saw the course, you wanted to learn
Mm-hmm.
some like data analytics. What was like your step-by-step plan to kind of learn this and get good at it?
Yeah. I think uh, for for me, learning anything, I think for me, it has to come from why. And what I mean by that is, let's say I want to learn Python. Um, I need to know, like in my mind, I have to have a why for it, because I'll take one class and then I wouldn't do it again.
Mm-hmm.
And then so for me, for data and analyst course, I took it because um, the why for me was because I'm going to get a better job, a more high paying job, and also what I started doing was I started to there's a website called HackerRank,
Mm-hmm.
um, and companies often use this website to give tests to their candidates.
Mm-hmm.
So, and these are like coding tests that they would give. So on HackerRank, I made a habit to solve one SQL problem every day.
Mm-hmm.
There some days I missed, but for the most part, I kept it up for at least like I think 3 months that I would solve one SQL problem every day, because because like for any new thing we want to learn, like we all know that we have to do it every day, um, or else it's just we just never get good at it. So I think for me, the learning process usually comes from why. And like for me, the reason I wanted to learn data science was because of the money. Like that was my why.
That's a good enough. That's a perfect
Yeah.
reason. That's a perfect reason.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like data science has a good number of jobs. It's very popping, and
Can you
it also pays
explain
good.
what data science is? Because I think people hear that and they get scared.
So I'll explain the difference between data analyst and data science from my research. Um, so in data science, it's we're given a data set, and the problem that they're giving to solve on that data set. So someone who is a data science, they need to know a couple statistical models, like linear regression. That's the most famous one. And there's like these 9 or 10 that are used most commonly, most common statistical models. And using those methods, they have to help the business um, come up with decisions.
Mm-hmm.
So they not only need to know some of these models that's common in the industry, but they also need to have a knowledge of Python and R, um, and some of those languages. And what data analyst is the most common skill for a data analyst is SQL.
Mm-hmm.
Like I have been job searching for these 2 months when I didn't have a job, and even before when I was looking for a job for data analyst before Estee Lauder, I saw SQL in every job posting. So SQL is just a very must-have skill for data analyst.
Mm-hmm.
And so data analyst is not as technical, meaning like I haven't really worked with any statistical models.
Mm-hmm.
What I do need to know is when I get a data set, how to clean it, how to
Mm-hmm.
organize it, which like I could do it in SQL or I could do it in Tableau or Power BI. And then one other thing for a data analyst is whatever problem that is given to us, making sure that we make the visuals to solve that problem or to help drive that decision. Because like we could say like a problem could be, why are we not having actually, let me say a different example. A problem could be, how can we have more retention rate on a site using, and like, how can we figure that out using data? So like, if I was on that project, like, I would probably think about, oh, okay, so let me think about what's the average that people are staying on that site, and what is the average that we want, and then start to figure out, like, on what page they're leaving, and why are they leaving. So that's how I would kind of solve it. But to summarize this whole, I think I would say data science, I think most commonly people need to have a knowledge of some statistical models, while as data analyst, we can use like Tableau and Power BI and all of these tools to get the stuff that we want to get done.
So I guess, would you say kind of data science is more predictive, whereas data analytics is kind of taking the data you already have and telling a story with it?
Yeah, I think you put it really well. Yeah. I think that's exactly it. Because data analyst, like what I do, I only deal with data that we already have, and I only show the metrics that I want to show from the data that we already have. I think Boala's data science would be like trying to tell something in the future.
Right. So I mean, so you learned a little bit of data analytics on your own. Do you think that that's something that, like, somebody that's young, right? Would they go to school and major in data analytics or data science? Is it worth it? Or is it something you feel like you could go online and learn it yourself?
So I personally went to a 4-year degree, Penn State. I went to Penn State to do an undergrad. And in my opinion, I do think that having a 4-year degree, like a bachelor's degree, it helps to get foot in the door. And for the people like who let's say who want to go an alternate route and take online courses, I think that's also a really good option for people in tech. When I was at Este, there was a guy who used to work with me, and he was 18 and he was doing what I was doing. And I asked him, like, how did you get into this? Like, how did, because I was like, and at that point in time, I used to think that getting like entry-level jobs, like, we need to have a degree. But he just was done with high school, and he took some courses online on data analytics, like learned some basics, and then he got involved into this program called 1 Year or Year Up. Yeah, I think it was called Year Up, where this program helps high school students to place into companies. So first he like learned those skills and then got into this program, and then they placed him in Estee Lauder, and I think he was an intern. Yeah, he joined as an intern there. He did his internship for, I think, 4 or 5 months, I believe, and he was offered a full-time after his internship. So like, he now, I think he's like 19, 20, and he is doing data analytics, and he has a job with a good company, I would say.
And he's debt free. He's debt free. No student loans for him.
Yeah, and like him, there was 2 other people at Este that came for internships. But I think one of them went back to school because like they wanted to do school. But talking to this guy that I was telling about, who was in data analytics, like, I was asking him, and he said the same thing, that I don't want to go to school because of the amount of money that I have to put in. And I do believe that I think a lot of the modern companies, they don't care as much about a degree as long as they can show that they have enough work experience to
But
like
see,
balance that out.
so I have two thoughts about this. Like, one, I feel like these skills are so new that a lot of these universities aren't, their curriculum isn't up to date yet, right? So
Mhm. Mhm.
like a school like Penn State, like their curriculum may be outdated as opposed to like something like data camp, right? So if you want to
Mhm.
learn that skill, you go on data camp, pay your $30 a month, and you have, the most up to date skills. Whereas
Mhm.
you're paying Penn State, thousands of dollars,
Yeah.
your skills might be out of date. But I mean, the issue is you're paying for that brand. You're paying for that
Yeah.
Penn State
Yeah.
brand.
I agree very much with that. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, looking back at my experience at Penn State, I could easily say that classes weren't. I don't think I learned much from classes.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I mean, I think one thing that college is really good for is um, like branching ourselves out to try new
Mm-hmm.
things, to see new things. Um, I am very grateful that I went to college, and I would be a much different person if I didn't go to college.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, but I think, in my opinion, for someone for whom money is a concern,
Mm-hmm.
they should think about if college is worth it for them or not. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but I think for people for them whose money is not as big of a concern.
I mean, also, I feel like if you're blessed enough to, you go to school for the experience, meeting new people, getting new, perspectives, but then maybe you leave and you're not able to find a job. This is something
Hmm.
you could pivot to with, within a few months.
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, like I'm grateful that I was given the opportunity to go to college. So I'm
Mm-hmm.
from India, born and raised, and my parents were willing to like sponsor half of my college.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so like that to me, that opportunity was like coming to US, coming to a new country, coming to a completely new background. So for me, it was not only college, but it was also a new country experience. So I do agree with that, though. I do agree with what you said
Mm-hmm.
um, before. But yeah, as you said, like I was blessed with this opportunity.
Yeah. And
So
that's
for
not, I
people
mean,
who are, yeah,
people, they forget that education can be a privilege sometimes, so it is a blessing if you're able to afford your education, but it's just not the reality for everyone.
hmm
Like worldwide,
I
not even just the US.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, the cost, like you said, the cost of going into this program, it's enormous. And
Mm-hmm.
if I only did class, looking back at my experience, if I only did classes at Penn State and did nothing else, I think that would have been a waste of money.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But I think, fortunately, I was involved outside classes more than I was inside classes.
Mm.
Um, I think that was uh, that was like worth.
Okay. Well, what's your dream for your career? Like 5 years from now, like what do you like, where do you hope to be in 5 years?
Mm. I think this is other thing. Actually, I want to say one quick note before I say this. Um, for anyone who's like listening to this, who's in their early 20s or like even late teens, um, I would say for our generation, for the millennials, at least me, I had this expectation of getting results quick.
Mm,
Like I
mhm,
wanted results quick, and I mean I'm only 2 years out of college, so it's not like I'm old or anything, or like I have a lot of experience or something. But if one of the biggest lessons I've learned in these 2 years is that results will not come quick, and I need to wait and for years for like my dream to come true, or like whatever I'm working on to come true. And the reason I wanted to say that is because recently, I've been thinking about what's the next thing, like what do you want to do next and all that. But now I'm making plans in terms of years as compared to months. Before I was making plans for like months, but now I'm making plans for like 3 years, 4 years, like that. I think, to be quite honest with you, for right now, if the world was ideal, I would like to have a fully remote job, and I would just like to travel anywhere I want.
Okay.
And in terms of what job I want, I think as of right now, I would want my next job after Estee Lauder to be a product manager or something in like product development, that type of thing. Yeah. So as I'm going to start my role at Estee, I think I'll probably mention my boss sometime that, hey, this is what I want to do next, and if you can give me duties of a project manager, that would be very helpful.
And then long term, you want the flexibility to work and then also travel.
Yeah. I think it's pretty interesting. When I was job searching out of college, like I had no filter. I was like, give me any job you can get. Like, I don't care what it pays, where it is. Like, I don't care at all. But I think as I'm like going, as I'm driving down like in this career lane, I think I've started to put some like filters by this is the area I want in. This is some PA stuff going on here.
Okay.
But I think so now I have like kind of have these like expectations in a way of like, okay, not expectations, that's the wrong word. I have like preferences of what kind of job I want, where I want, and all of that.
And that's just like, you don't know what you know or what you don't know, right? It's just experience. So like as you experience things, you kind of get a taste of, I don't like that, I like this. So it's all, so just growing.
Yeah. I mean, I'm assuming like in your career that you've also probably realized that.
Yeah.
This is what I don't like, this is what I don't want to do.
Yes. I mean, coming into the firm that I'm currently at, I was just kind of blinded by the name. So I just kind of came in and was like, yes, I'm here. Thank you for having me. But now I have a clear idea of like what I'm worth, where I would like to see myself in the next, several years. And y'all just not gonna treat me any kind of way anymore. Like that was the biggest, that's the biggest lesson.
Well, actually, so I want to turn this question to you. I want to know how long you've been at this place now.
It's almost 2 years.
2 years, okay. So you know how you mentioned that you can't treat me in any way? Can you give a little more detail if you're allowed to?
I cannot.
Okay.
No, I mean, just kind of like when you come into like a big company, because it's very big.
Yeah.
And you don't know your place. You don't know how to move. You don't know how to take up space. And then you kind of get a feel for the dynamics of everyone, right? Like the power dynamics, the relationship dynamics, and how people engage with one another. And then you kind of see your worth, right? Like you don't know your worth at first, and then you realize, oh wait, these people need me. Like I'm good at this, and they need me for this, so they need to treat me a certain type of way. And so
yeah.
And for me, like I kind of it took me about a year to kind of shed my imposter syndrome. Like I didn't think I belonged there, but then after a while, I was like, listen, I belong here. Pay me my money.
Yeah.
Which where I'm at now.
Pay me more. Yeah.
Like I think I found my voice, and that's like I don't credit that just to myself, but the environment is great. Like I said, it's a company that's not without flaws, but like I have great allies and a great team that have helped me kind of find my voice. Yeah.
You know, it's interesting you say that because when I was like, when I heard back from my boss that they can hire me again, I thought like, oh, maybe I should ask for more money. Because I have a little like, if they hire someone new, they have to train that person. But for me, they don't have to train me as much. So I like planned this whole conversation. I was like, you know, this is why you need to pay me more, blah, blah, blah. And when the time came and I was like on the phone.
And you were scared.
I just got chickened out. I just got scared. It's like,
that I think from talking to other people, that takes time. Like it takes time to kind of know your worth. Because like everybody that I talk to, especially for Black women, they're always like, ask for more, like ask for triple. But that's a muscle that you have to flex before you get there. Because it's hard to be like, pay me $20 million. Right? Like it's hard. But it's like baby steps to getting there.
I think that, you said a good point. And when I joined Estee too, like for the imposter syndrome, like I totally understand, because this was like my first time working in a big company, and I got into their office, and like their fancy office, you know, like people are walking in like in these like fancy suits and like, you know, like fancy watches and like nice kitchens. And it
free coffee. There's
free coffees and like free food.
Free coffee everywhere.
You know, like free snacks and all of this. And I like some days I was just like, is this real? You know, like, and it's actually funny.
What like really gets you is when they give you the corporate card and you're like,
oh, okay.
What? I know, I was scared. Like my first couple of months I was like, I don't want to use it. Like I don't want to expense anything. And my coach, like you get a line to a coach. They were like, okay, girl, you gotta expense everything. Let me not say that. Like within reason, like just, you know,
the stuff that you can expense.
Yeah.
That's interesting. But yeah, I think we were talking about like money and stuff.
Yeah, but that I think takes time. It comes with time and like maturity to kind of be at ease with yourself enough to be like, this is what I'm worth, and I'm not flexible on it. Like that's it.
Yeah. And you know, I called my friend who I used to work with at Estee. She moved jobs recently. I called her and I was like, hey, like I'm gonna go back there. Like, you know, how do you think I should ask for more money? And she's good at this stuff. She knows how to like negotiate and like how to ask for more. So she gave me all these tips that like I should bring that up. But it was like if she didn't help me to like teach kind of how to negotiate, it wouldn't even come to my mind that I could ask for more money. But I just wanted to say that because it's always better to like, I think it's always better to kind of have that person who's like pushing for you that no, you should get paid more, you know, like you should make more money or something.
And that's the other thing too. Is like when you're working in a ginormous company, you have to have allies. Like it's so hard to do it on your own. Like you have, or even like outside mentors to kind of guide you, because it's hard to navigate. Like you're very, you know, you're a small fish in this ginormous ocean. So you know, somebody who's more seasoned to like talk to you and tell you, these are the unspoken rules. This is, how you need to align yourself. Like it's really helpful.
I
Do
agree
you
with that.
see yourself staying at a big company um, the next like 2 or 3 years?
Um, I think so. So this is my honest opinion. Um, to me, having a big name on my resume, like I care about that. Um,
It is a
so
flex. It's a nice flex, right? Because then you walk
it's
into other companies and you can be like, I work
yeah, I
here.
agree.
What can you
Yeah.
offer me? Do you have a corporate card? Are you going to expense all of my training? It's like, it's a flex. It's nice.
I agree because I think having a big company on your resume, like that's exactly what you said. Like whichever job I go next, they already like if it's a big company, they already know about that company. And it's kind of like if you can get hired at this big company, like, it means you have done something, you know. And of course, for people who are working in like smaller companies and working in startups, like I think it matters a lot when they show the results they have given. Um, but for me, I think I want to show the results I've given, and I want to show the big company that I
Right.
work for.
So unfortunately, like in addition to like having solid skills, it can be a little bit of a name game, right? Like the name of your school or the name of the company that that hired you. But hopefully that changes in the next year or two, just because there's so
Yeah.
much work. Like data is so huge and they need people. So I think they're going to have to switch up the talent pipelines and not just hit those same schools over and over again, and kind of look at the program that your friend, who's 18, like he was in a program right out of high school. So maybe, like companies start diversifying the talent pool, because who's going to do these jobs? Like,
Yeah, I agree. Actually, our mutual friend Ed and I, we
Ed.
were just let's go. We were just talking about these huge companies like Bain and
Mm-hmm.
McKinsey, BCG.
Mm-hmm.
We were just chatting about in our career fairs. Like, I don't think those companies came. They
Mm-hmm.
probably
Yeah.
would go to Harvard, Stanford, MIT, and the big
Mm-hmm.
schools. And we were just thinking like it's even though like it's a little more harder for us to get on those companies. I'm not saying it's impossible,
Mm-hmm.
but it's a little harder to get to those companies. Uh, but at the same time, like the people who go to Harvard and MIT, like they've also done special stuff. So
I mean, we could argue. No, but I feel like as a big company, right, or even a small startup, you're gonna miss out on the next, you know, Steve Jobs or Bill Gates or whoever, because they chose to go to Penn State or Temple instead of MIT. And so that's what I mean by like diversifying the talent pool. Like, of course, like those names are always going to hit, like they always get a reaction: Harvard, Stanford, Yale, Penn. But I feel like recruiters are they're missing out, and they're doing themselves a disjustice by not looking elsewhere.
I very much agree with that, and for this reason, I think the ERA program that I was talking about, like a friend who was at Estee, I think it's pretty smart to just
Yeah,
hire
yeah.
kids out of high school.
And I wish more companies would do something like that, because even in our firm, there's so many projects that they're not staffed because the talent is just not there.
Wow.
So, if they were to look elsewhere and recruit elsewhere, maybe they could find the talent. And there are people who they're just not aware of these jobs in technology?
Yeah, I mean, like you and I were talking about this before, that it's more important for the parents to be aware of these opportunities than the kids, because parents are going to be the ones who will reinforce them, reinforce these opportunities that they exist on those kids. And I think it's just like, I mean, like people like you who are doing this work, who are trying to expose people to jobs in tech and career in tech. I think it's a pretty good job.
Yeah.
And thank you for doing that.
So thank me. I'm just on the internet talking. But speaking of being on the internet talking, you have a TED Talk, right?
Yes.
That makes you very famous. You're very famous. I'll link the TED Talk in the description. But
thank you.
How did you tell us that story?
Yeah. So actually, I'll start from the beginnings. Okay. I came to Penn State in 2014. And before I came to Penn State, I was a very shy kid. I didn't have many friends. I was very quiet and shy. When I came to Penn State, I started to open up. In 2016, our mutual friend Ed that we talked about.
Ed.
Ed.
Keep shouting Ed out.
Ed, yeah. Him and I, we did a summer internship in a startup incubator, and that's where we met, because we were gonna intern for the same company. And the way the incubator was set up was there were like seven, eight companies who would share that space, and they would be people who have worked in the industry, and they would give advice and they would mentor these people who are running their companies. And I remember like talking to these people, and they would say that, oh yeah, I'm working on this website, I'm working on this app, I'm working on this product because I believe in it, and why not? And these were the people like on Friday nights, like they were not the ones who were like getting drunk or something. Like they were the ones who were like sitting in their office and like working on their company. And to me, that was like, wow, that's what I want to do. And Penn State being a pretty like big party school, it's just part of the culture to get drunk or something, And I just remember like that feeling of like our mutual friend Joe, like that's where I met him. And he's working on his third company now. But I met him when he was working on his first company, and I just remember like he would just like stay in and work on his business. Like he would go to school and then work on his business.
Wait a minute. So being like a college kid, it was strange to you to see someone who was like, it was Friday, I'm gonna stay inside and do my homework or work on my business.
It was because I was like a sophomore.
Outlier. Like, oh, you're not going to the party?
Yeah, like you're not going to that frat to get drunk, or so to me it was like in my mind I was like, this is the lifestyle that I want to have. Because I wasn't a big party guy either, so I just enjoyed the fact that they were passionate about something and they were working on it. And I guess like I wanted that sense of ownership of like I own this product. Purpose, or like this is what I'm working on, like I want to make this better. So fast forward that 2016, that's the first time I was introduced to that space. And then 2017, actually same, our mutual friend Ed he was
Ed gets so many shout outs.
He was interning for another startup in that space. And I told Ed, I was like, hey, like, are you guys hiring? I'd love to intern for this company. So Ed introduced me to uh, these what do you call that? Like basically the person who was running the startup. And then I had an interview with him, and then like luckily he hired me, and I interned for that company for a semester. So overall, like I think I spend a lot of time in that incubator, and most of my close friends are from that incubator.
I can see that now. I see that now. Yeah. Yeah.
And so it comes my senior year, and at Penn State, most seniors are required to do like a capstone project. And what that means is like you're supposed to take a real world problem and make a project on it. And then that's when it clicked to me, you know what, this is it. This is going to be my project. Like I'm going to come up with something in this class, and this is going to be my company. So what we came up with was, so you know how there's a national suicide hotline on phone? So we would do the same thing, but do it on text. So I started to work on it. You know, I reached out to every person I knew from that incubator, like all the teachers, all the basically like my friends who were working in the incubator, just like reaching out to them for advice. Like, this is what I'm doing. What do you think about it? Would it work? Would it not work? And yeah, I just started to work on it. I remember like the day I got my LLC, I was like, damn, this is it, you know?
I made
have
it.
it. Yeah. And I used to love sharing people what I'm doing. I was like, yeah, classes are, yeah, whatever. But no, this is what I'm doing. This is the product that we're building. And in that time, I saw the TEDx PSU, which is the TEDx at Penn State. They were open for speakers. Like I think their speaker rounds had just opened up. And I was like, I'm gonna apply. I don't even care if I get in, but I'm gonna apply. So I applied for the first round, and then I went in for an interview. And then they asked me questions like, you know, what's your topic about? How are you gonna talk about it? What's the like what experience do you have and all that. And I think having my company gave me credibility that I'm not just like random person who's coming on to talk about this topic. So I had my interview, and then we had a second round where there would be like a audience, and there would be 12 speakers who would go on the stage. And out of those 12, the audience would choose 3 speakers who would go on to speak in the main TEDx PSU. So I had that round, and in that round, I was one of the 3 speakers who got to speak in the main TEDx stage then. So, and then, yeah, I still remember the date, Feb 12, 2018 was the date when I gave the TEDx talk.
Were you nervous about it, or were you just kind of like,
God.
I got this?
No, it was, you know, I was just so nervous. And here's another like little side story. I haven't watched the TED Talks fully myself.
And you gotta watch your own TED Talk.
Here's the reason why. Okay. I prepared for it, and so I have a stutter. Like, and I had it since a kid. Like when I was a kid, it was like pretty bad, but now it's gotten better. And I told to myself in my mind, I was like, look, Shreyash, this is your chance. Like, this is going on YouTube. This is going to be recorded. Don't mess this up. Like, don't stutter. And I went on to the stage, and I stuttered once, and I was like, okay, just move on. And did it twice, and did it 3 times. And I was just like, oh my God, no, you know, like I messed up my chance. I messed up like this opportunity that I had. Well, I mean, in hindsight, I'm sure like people don't even care about it, or people
No,
don't even like notice it.
I don't notice that. No.
But in my mind, I was like, I could have done better.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, so that's what, like, whenever I start to watch it, it
Mm-hmm.
just hits me that, oh, I could have done better. I could have practiced more. I could have uh, done something better.
But see, that's interesting you say that because I feel like perfection keeps a lot of people away from their dreams because
Mm,
they have this idea of something being a certain way, right? Instead of just getting started. So at least
mm,
you were able to kind of overcome whatever insecurities you felt you had and just do it. And now it's out there in the world,
mm,
right? Like
mm,
you didn't let this idea of perfection stop you, which I
mm,
like. I
mm.
like that. I like that.
Thank you, thank you. I think over the, I mean, of course, over the years, I have gotten over some insecurities, but I think there are still some that I am aware of. And
And I
it's
think
there.
because like my thing is like I'm insecure. Like there's stuff that but it's like this is what I have, so this is what you're gonna get. That's like that's how I think about it. It's like there's nothing I can do about this, so
Hmm.
we just have to rock with this until we
Yeah.
get there. But then like the more you do something, the more you get better at it. Because like so even this YouTube thing, I'm just hopefully one day I will get good at it. But for now, like this is where I'm starting, so this is what y'all are gonna get. It
And
gets better.
I like how you said this, because you were, as you said, that you're not, like, you're not caring as much as about perfectionism, but to getting it out.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and that's such a good point, that like most people wouldn't hit that button
Right.
because they just want to prepare,
Well, it's
but
this
they would never get it out.
fear, and it's like driven by ego too. It's like I have
Mm,
to be perfect or I
mm,
can't get started. But then you have to practice to get close to perfection.
mm,
So,
mm, mm. And I mean, as simple as, even as simple as it was what you said now, that
mm.
like you don't spend much time to edit, you,
No, I
it,
mean, I will figure out how to edit eventually.
yeah,
But right
eventually.
now, I just want to flex the muscle of like putting a video together, getting
Mm,
it uploaded. And
mm,
then, it's like
mm,
Will Smith has this saying. He says like lay one perfect brick, like lay it as perfectly as you can and do that every day. And my thing is like just put the brick down, like you're
mm,
learning how to lay bricks. Like it's not going to come out perfect.
mm,
But if I
mm,
lay bricks over time, I'll get better. Like I'll learn from my mistakes. And then
mm,
I'll have
mm,
like a mansion one day or something.
mm, mm.
But I have to start. Like that's the thing.
Yeah,
Like just starting.
yeah. Oh, so much agree with that. Like,
Yeah.
starting is the hardest part. So, starting and finishing is the hardest part.
I think starting is the hardest part because everyone, like, we all get in our own heads that people are
Mm,
judging us. Like, we judge ourselves. We're afraid. Like, what if this? People are going to think that. People are going to. And I have that too because people from work are watching this now. And it makes me so nervous. And I'm terrified of the internet. But it's like, like, this is something that I want to do. So we're just going to push
yeah.
through.
And I think you have been wanting to do this for some time, like kind of
Yeah.
help people
Yeah.
to get into tech.
Yeah, because I've seen like just in my own life, that there is a path that I didn't know about. Like I wish like when I was in high school, I knew this so that I
Mm,
could have, slowly worked towards it instead of kind of like pivoting into it kind of later. I mean, not that I'm that old, but like, like I wish when I was younger, I knew about this. So it was something I could slowly work towards instead of
mm,
just kind of rerouting into it years later.
mm. So I have a question for you here. Most, like, I think when we think of like high school kids and middle school kids, I feel that though they want to be on they want to be a rapper, they want to be on YouTube,
That's true.
they want to be
That's true.
YouTube famous.
Yeah, yeah. Tech
And
is not sexy. It's not cool.
yeah, it's not
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah.
And I don't disagree with them. Like, it's I'm not saying that tech is
I
not
think Ed
sexy,
would
but
disagree. Ed thinks it's very cool and very
yeah.
sexy.
I think tech is a great industry. Like,
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
I love it. But what I want to ask you is, how do we tell these kids that, oh, like, there's these other industry,
Mm-hmm.
which you can make good money in. You can have like a my favorite part of the career of tech career is
Mm-hmm.
good money and being able to work with like smart people.
Yeah,
Like, we're
yeah.
not working with like people who are not culturally aware,
Mm-hmm.
for the most part.
Mm-hmm.
I think for the most
Yeah,
part that
yeah.
I've come across people in tech, they're mostly culturally aware.
Mm-hmm.
And like, you work from most of the time, you work from like wherever you want.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I am attracted towards. But I don't think like kids care about that.
Well, it depends because I feel like you have some very like curious, motivated kids that are thinking ahead, right? Like you have someone in middle school right now that they have their plan for MIT.
mm,
And then you have
mm,
some kids like, for whatever family circumstances, they can't see past high school. So
mm,
this is something that would give them hope, right?
mm,
Like,
mm,
there's lots of kids who their parents didn't go to college. They don't
mm,
see a path to college. So it's like,
mm,
what am I going to do after college? They can't see beyond that. So this is
mm,
something that they can work towards that they may not necessarily need college for.
mm,
Or it's something they could start at their community college
mm,
and
mm,
leave and be employed, and I think there's a
mm.
lot of flexibility in tech. Like you can work but have something that you love doing on the side because it allows for
Agreed.
flexibility like that.
Agreed. So, what do you think, if you were in high school today, what would you like to hear so that you were exposed to it? Like, how you were saying you wish you
Mm-hmm.
were exposed.
Yeah.
What would that
Oh, I'd be like, listen, go online and look up, cloud data analytics because when you graduate, you can make lots of money.
be?
Which
Mm.
that doesn't sound, very appealing. But, I would lead with something like that.
Yeah. The reason I was asking is, I met a teacher. I think we were talking about this before. I met a teacher in New York, and I was telling him about this idea that, oh, what if like I come into your school and I talk about data analytics and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And that teacher said, like, most kids want to be on YouTube, they want to be a rapper. So you have to,
Right.
like, he was like, maybe you could just like make a rap about data
Oh,
analytics and like show it to them that way.
right.
And I mean, he was a teacher in East Brooklyn, which is like
Mm-hmm.
one of the lower income parts of New York.
Right, right.
So he was saying like their schools are very underfunded.
Mm-hmm.
So
Most
it's,
public schools in the U.S. Yeah.
yeah.
But
But yeah,
see,
I wanted to hear a perspective on that.
I would try and kind of like link some real world examples because all these kids are on the internet. They're literally like on the internet, like they're Matrix kids. They're on Fortnite all the
Mm,
time.
mm.
Like, who do you think supports Fortnite? Like, Fortnite is run on AWS on the cloud.
Oh, well, I didn't know that.
Yeah, yeah. So it's like you could play Fortnite. You could also work for Fortnite.
Wow, that is
You
such a
know?
really good way to say
Yeah,
that. Yeah. Wow, 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 wow.
yeah. Game development is a thing. Like that's a tech industry. Even data science, data analytics. You know how Spotify does the year-end review of
Mm.
like
Oh
what
my
you.
God, I love those. I love that.
Who do you think made those? The data scientists.
Yeah.
They took all of your data and put it into this cute little thing that you could put on Instagram and Facebook, you know?
Wow.
And like
Yeah.
even
Wow.
working
That's a
at
good way to say.
Facebook, Snapchat, making Snapchat filters. Somebody is at home making like 6 figures developing Snapchat filters right now. I think that's pretty cool and sexy. It's crazy, sexy, and cool.
I agree with that. That is I think that could be a very good way to push kids to, like, as you said, oh, you know, you play Fortnite, but what about you would be the one who can make Fortnite?
But I mean, like, the new Xbox is coming out. Well, no, not Xbox. Oh, there's an Xbox too, and the new PlayStation. Who do you think is working on those things? Like, who's developing these games for you to play? You know, like, you could be a part of that culture and get paid for that, you know? There's so many. I mean, we live on the internet now. Like, who do you think is making the internet run?
Yeah.
You know, like, the nerds have officially inherited the earth. Like, Jeff, richest man, you know, in the world. You know, Mark Zuckerberg, who is very problematic, but another, you like, rich tech god, you know? It's like, tech rules everything around us. Like, it's literally making the world go round right now. We've all been, like, working from home because of the pandemic. And there's, like, all these concerts online. Netflix, Disney Plus. Like, what do you think? Like, who do you think is doing all that? Sexy.
Yeah. So you asked me a question earlier before about what's my future career plan. Let me ask you that. What's your future career plan?
I have so many.
Let's go.
Dreams, and just anyway.
And I think that's for, like, most people who are doing multiple things. Like, you're doing YouTube and cloud, so I think it's completely normal.
I mean, in 5 years, we'll just do, like, in 5 years, I would like to be solidly at somebody's firm in a position where I'm, you know, managing teams in, like, a management position, and able to make decisions on hiring.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting. So
That's my 5 year.
You wanna, like, hire for your cloud team?
Yeah, like, I want to be able to make the decision. We are going to this place to recruit for people on my in, like, my department or whatever, you know. Like, I want to be in somebody's leadership position at somebody's firm, right?
Yeah.
And be able to make those decisions, to be able to, like, open the door for another, you know, little Black girl from some city to, like, come in and learn and do this stuff. Yeah, that's it.
Wow. Cheers to that.
Oh my gosh, that's not that profound. Like, I don't
Really?
You took a deep sigh. Like I said, like, I wanted to, you know, cure world hunger or something. Like, I just want more, you know, Black and brown faces in these companies. That's it.
Yeah. You know, I think it's like, you know, people like you who are in tech right now and who have that perspective of how is it like to come from a minority group into a big company. So I think, like, having faces like you in these companies, it helps the kids.
Yeah, because I mean, there's a big, I forget who says it, but you can't be what you can't see, which that statement is kind of problematic, but it does help to have models, right? Like, I grew up in the golden age of Oprah Winfrey. You see her back there? You see her?
Yeah.
You know? So, like, seeing Oprah on TV every day. Oprah's, like, one of the wealthiest Black women, you know, of all time. Like, seeing her every day, like, there was nobody that could tell me, like, shut up, Black girl, you can't do anything, or you're worthless, because I had her to, like, look to. So it helps. Like, it helps to see someone that looks like you reflected back, you know, especially when they're like super successful like that. You know?
Wow.
I wish there was like 20 Oprahs. I wish it was like to the point where Oprah, like, it's not a bit, it's like nothing. Like, I know 20 Oprahs. Like, you know, Oprahs
like
are
common.
a dime a dozen, right?
But it's common. Yeah. Well, you're making it happen.
No. I'm just, I'm just a regular. just talking on the internet. Talking on the internet. So you also have a podcast.
Yes.
So tell the friends the name of your podcast, where they can find it.
Yes, it's called The Story Project,
and
you can find it on any platform you listen on. Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, wherever you listen on. And and Dion is also on there.
Yeah, and Ed, we keep shouting out Ed Gardo.
Ed is also there. Kind of the the inspiration behind the podcast is to share stories from everyday people like us. Just like normal stories, like for Ed, it was coming to US. And Dion, you shared about how you've been taking care of your mom for most of your life.
And there's some good stories on there. Your last episode was really good. It was about Amazon.
It was about this guy. I met him in New York, and he recovered from drug addiction.
Well, don't spoil it. It's really good. Like, I really I didn't expect to like it as much as I did, because I was like, I was a little judgmental, but it was really good and really inspiring. So the friends should go check that out.
Actually, I'm curious to know this sister part. What was your expectation going in?
I don't want to share my thoughts on the internet, just because I feel like, there's like an opioid epidemic, so there's like a lot of those stories that get told. They don't always end well, and it's a shame. So I don't know. I don't know. There was a little bit of an eye roll of like, all right, let me hear what this man is talking about. But it was, it changed my mind. Like, I definitely have more empathy for people going through that, because, it's just, we're all just out here doing our best. And sometimes we mess up, but it's like, I think, the important part is like coming back from that.
I feel like we're all messed up, but the ones who figure out how to cope with it, like healthy, makes it out. But I think we all have like our own stuff to deal with.
Our own traumas to figure out. But we just spoiled the episode, but listen to it anyway. It's really good.
Yeah, listen to it anyways. On Apple Podcasts, whenever you listen. If you listen on Apple Podcasts, give me a 5-star review. No, I'm kidding.
No. Plug your things for the friends. No, but thank you, Shrey Manak.
Thank you.
Ed would say, Shrey
Manak. Wait, can Ed join the recording?
Yeah, come on, Ed.
Okay. Yo, come here, bro. No. Oh, shit, no. maybe you can like pause recording and Ed can join.